We've got a lot to cover in this one. ESPN released some bombshell excerpts from the upcoming book, It's Better to Be Feared, The New England Patriots Dynasty and the Pursuit of Greatness. We're going to dive right into that, and I'm going to give you my theories on what it all means. And we'll relate it back to recent interviews with Tom Brady's father and his trainer/best friend Alex Guerrero. Plenty to talk about, and thank you to our sponsor, The Coldest Water. If you want 10% off, use code CHATS for the best water bottle I've personally ever had. I know Patriots fans in the past have been hesitant to accept what Wickersham writes, but let's be honest with ourselves. Going back 3 or 4 years, this was the guy breaking stories about tension within the organization. Then Robert Kraft admits there's tension, and then things got so bad that Tom Brady left for the Buccaneers. I know in hindsight that move doesn't look so bad, right? But at the time, the Bucs were considered one of the worst franchises in the league. We still got to remind ourselves of that. What I'm saying is things got so bad in Brady's current situation that he was willing to risk it for the freaking Tampa Bay Buccaneers. For every great dynasty or even empire in history, it never seems to end well. The Patriots, for all the greatness of their dynasty, is no different. This book covers hundreds of interviews with a range of sources, including previously confidential emails, texts, game plans, scouting reports, and internal New England studies. So let's see what he has to say now. I gotta mention that I talked to the publishing company and they said they would send me the book ahead of the release, so I'm expecting plenty of more juicy details to come. Be sure to subscribe for more content like this, cause boy, we are ready to dive in multiple times over. And by the way, the book releases on October 12th if you're interested in purchasing it. The article begins right away with Brady wanting to say goodbye to Belichick before departing for Tampa. But Bill said he wasn't available and could only talk on the phone. This reporting is backed up from, I think, the Boston Herald, who wrote about the phone call in 2020. Brady told a friend that the forced phone call was telling to how their relationship had deteriorated over the years. It goes on to say that Brady left New England because Belichick wouldn't commit to him through his goal of playing until 45. And here's the key part. Belichick thought Brady was close to the end. Boom! What we suspected right there in writing from sources within the organization. And this backs up what Tom Brady's father told Tom Curran last week when he said Belichick wanted Brady out that door. Like we've talked about before, Belichick believes it's better to get rid of a player before the downward spiral of age hits. We've already seen that happen numerous times over the years with the Patriots and Browns. Tom Brady was no different. He never treated Brady as different. And he wanted to get rid of Brady back in 2017 until Kraft stepped in and forced a temporary alliance. This also connects back to what Brady's trainer, right-hand man, and business partner Alex Guerrero told the Herald last week. He said, "I think Belichick's emotions or feelings never evolved with age. I think in time, as Tom got into his late 30s or early 40s, I think Bill was still trying to treat him like that 20-year-old kid that he drafted. And all the players, I think, realized Tom was different. He's older, so he should be treated differently. And all the players, none of them would have cared that he was treated differently. I think that was such a Bill thing. He never evolved." Now, Guerrero might have been linking the treatment part to the times where Belichick pretty much banned Guerrero from the facilities, including making Brady go up to the luxury suites to get treatment from Guerrero for practices and games. But you can also link that treatment part back to everything else, including the contract and age. The book continues. The seamlessness of Brady's proficiency and performance was making his former coach's methodologies look antiquated, even silly. Now, obviously, Brady has proven Belichick very wrong in the past couple years, especially this past year. But are Belichick's methods really antiquated? Or is Brady just a freak exception? Can we even blame Belichick for his methods? I'm actually not sure if it's right to do that. I mean, Sometimes it works out for him when he lets players go, but other times it doesn't. The big difference is when you have the greatest player in history who has dedicated himself to longevity and has showed no sign of slowing down, it's probably a good idea to hold on to that. Because every team in the league has at one point or another found themselves on the search for a quarterback half of Brady's caliber. So Belichick has messed up badly, and frankly, it's put a stain on his legacy. Now, do I think by the end, Brady realized his opportunity to start fresh on a new team and he looked forward to it? Yes, I do, but I'm not sure if he gets to that point if Belichick treats him differently. In the end, I believe it was a mutual parting, but if I had to pick who's at fault, it would be Belichick more so than Brady. I'm not saying Brady did everything perfectly. I mean, it was clear he wasn't fully bought in 2019, which hurt the team. But as a whole, this dynasty came to an end because of Belichick. All of this just adds to the war on Belichick this week. In the book, Kraft says to a friend at a conference, "I hate leaving here. You leave here and you leave some of the most brilliant people you've ever met. You pick up so much knowledge from all these brilliant minds, and I have to go back to Detroit to be with the biggest effing a-hole in my life, my head coach." Now, funny enough, one of Belichick's former players has already beat Kraft to all this Belichick hating. Danny Amendola also called Belichick an a-hole after he left the team. Of course, it means so much more coming from the owner, but we're starting to see more and more evidence turn against Belichick. I'm not saying everyone hates this guy. I mean, I think even Kraft and Brady realize his positive characteristics despite all the tension. And Julian Edelman sure seems to love the guy despite being one of Brady's best buddies. But I think all this Kraft against Bill stuff is coming out now for a reason. I think Kraft regrets not choosing Brady over Belichick. In hindsight, maybe he should have just gone with Josh McDaniels and Brady and let Belichick walk right out that door. I think that's the feeling around the Krafts right now. And on top of that, Kraft wants to make sure he's on the right side of history. We now know the dynasty was more Brady than Belichick, and it seems Kraft wants us to believe that he knows that too. The big question is, when did he realize all this? Was it before or after Brady left? There's so much more I want to talk about, so I'm going to be making more videos on this, because boy, there is a lot to cover. We didn't even touch some of the great talking points I have, so I'm going to have another video right around the corner, so be sure to stay tuned.